Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 479 based on novel. So let's start. In the All-Heaven star system, the almost destroyed Thunder Celestial realm was now in ruins. There was no trace of any living being there. There would be flashes of broken spatial cracks that would flicker and disappear. They were like broken pieces that were being swept by the wind. Master Flame's Park had taken away most of the continents in the Thunder Celestial realm. What remained were just some irregular rocks that slowly floated through this broken world. In the depths of the ruined Thunder Celestial realm, there was a circle of light. This circle was almost 10,000 feet wide and looked like a ball of light. Inside, one could see a grass hut, and it was surrounded with some flowers and plants. Inside the hut sat an old man in black. He wasn't cultivating but holding a green leaf as if he was observing the veins on it. This old man was an extremely powerful cultivator that had appeared in the first battle, Old Ghost Sha. No one knew where Old Ghost Sha was hiding or could have expected him to be hiding in the collapsed Thunder Celestial realm. Old Ghost Sha was holding the green leaf in his hand and observing it carefully when he suddenly looked into the distance. His eyes shined, but if you looked closely, you would see a faint hint of gold. However, this gold color was too weak, almost insignificant. Celestial. Old Ghost Sha's pupils shrank and the green leaf in his hand collapsed. Old Ghost Sha was moved and slowly got up. His eyes lit up as if he was going to pierce the void and see what had caused this feeling. His gaze could see through the world, the inner and outer realm, but at this moment, he couldn't find the person that gave him this feeling. Could it be Royal Celestial? Old Ghost Sha was shocked and took a deep breath. He only calmed down after a long time. He knew that if a real Celestial's bloodline was very pure and noble, it would make it so he could feel the celestial spiritual energy but not find where it was coming from. This was very mysterious spell, a bloodline spell. The more pure the Celestial's bloodline, the more difficult it was for others to find that Celestial. Even the general location seemed to be covered by fog. Due to this, the young man from the summoned river misunderstood and thought that a Celestial had descended. He couldn't see what was happening at the Alliance headquarters, he only felt the shocking celestial spiritual energy coming from the inner realm. The Celestial that descended has a very pure bloodline and should have noble status. However, his cultivation level is not high, only a rank 7 Celestial. I once obtained a great fortune and won a celestial inheritance. My current cultivation level is early stage void turbulent, which is equal to an earth celestial. If I can obtain his bloodline, Old Ghost Sha silently pondered. There was another place in the inner realm. This place was a vast land and with a dim sky. It existed inside the inner realm, but at the same time, it didn't exist. To be more accurate, it was a world that overlapped with the inner realm but was stationed above the inner realm. It was a painting hiding inside a painting. Only after ripping open the first painting could one see the truth within. There were endless ancient god, ancient demon, and ancient devil statues spread across this area. This was the place Wang Lin saw when he went through his divine retribution. It was also where the young man in the summoned river was from. This was the rumored ancient celestial realm that had disappeared according to the rumors in the inner realm. There were almost 10,000 statues here, and they were spread out all across this area. There were 4 statues in the enter that were much bigger than the rest. The ancient god had no ancient god stars between his eyebrows, it was as if they had been absorbed by someone. Looking closer, there was a deep hole between the ancient god's eyebrows. There was a figure shrouded in a golden light sitting inside the hole. The 3 main statues were the same. Celestial spiritual energy. What powerful celestial spiritual energy! If Master can obtain it, it could speed up his awakening and restore his memory, the golden figure inside the first statue murmured before raising his right hand to reach out of the ancient god. However, as soon as he lifted his hand, there was a strange force from the ancient god that quickly gathered between the eyebrows and turned into a strange seal. The golden figure's right hand touched the seal and was knocked back. An angry roar came from inside the hole. Inside the second statue, there was another golden figure, and he slowly said, "Damn it, don't waste any more celestial spiritual energy." This seal has trapped us for all these years, but it won't be long before we can break out. Vermilion Bird, you're good at scheming. What is the chance of that plan succeeding? A somber voice came from the third statue. It won't fail, and the result will soon appear. These 4 huge statues sealed the ancient Celestial Emperor's 4 great generals, the Azure Dragon, the White Tiger, the Vermilion Bird, the Black Tortoise. If Wang Lin were here and saw this, he would be shocked. His first thought would be that if the real Vermilion Bird was sealed here, then who was the person that proclaimed himself to be the first-generation Vermilion Bird? Brilliant Void Star System, Alliance Headquarters. Wang Lin's right hand pointed at the sky and the giant palm print descended upon the mountain and river painting. Wang Lin's expression was calm, but he was serious. When Master Longpan had just awakened, he was only at the Nirvana Void stage, so Wang Lin was able to break his 2 arms. However, when the mountain and rain painting appeared, Master Longpan, who had fused with the planet, gave off the powerful aura of a mid-stage spirit void cultivator. With the joss flames from the mountain and river painting, his aura became even more solidified and real. Wang Lin was not surprised that Master Longpan was a third-step cultivator with joss flames. He was Master Zhongxian's teacher and had lived before the celestial realm collapsed. He was in the same generation as the previous Lord of the Sealed Realm. Before the 4 great celestial realms collapsed, they were used to produce joss flames. Master Longpan must have obtained a great fortune during that time. Although it was unknown when he had to fuse with the planet, he must have been extremely powerful. Mid-stage spirit void, Wang Lin silently pondered and his eyes shined. Although it looked like he had easily killed esteemed teacher Tian Zhao, in truth, he had used his full power while ignoring the consequences of the rejection force. That was already his limit. The consequences were very serious and the rejection was very difficult to suppress. It raged through his body, making him feel like his body was going to collapse. Although others couldn't see it, Wang Lin was bitterly enduring. At this moment, facing a mid-stage spirit void cultivator, Wang Lin had no confidence. That's why he had risked it all and used the War Spirit Print. Using the War Spirit Print was the second time Wang Lin had used his full power without caring about the rejection force. All the celestial spiritual energy inside him had erupted and the rejection force was rampaging throughout his body. The veins under his clothes were swelling and were clearly visible. However, Wang Lin didn't care about this, he had come here to save Qing Shui. Wang Lin was going to save Qing Shui no matter what. Wang Lin's expression was fierce and he took a step forward. He then lowered his right hand and a thunderous rumble echoed. After absorbing so much celestial spiritual energy, the War Spirit Print had become a real celestial spell. The thunderous rumbles were heaven-shaking. There was a large amount of ripples around the palm as it closed in on the mountain and river painting. From afar, this scene looked extremely shocking. The palm seemed like it was going to rip the mountain and river painting before it apart. At this moment, the ripples around the palm touched the mountain and river painting. The suction force from the mountain and river painting increased and caused the ripples to distort. The moment the ripples distorted, the giant palm touched the mountain and river painting. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world and turned into a powerful impact that scattered in all directions. Wang Lin's body trembled and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. He retreated a few steps and the rejection force inside his body rapidly erupted. It raged inside his body. His origin soul-like celestial body was frantically attacking his flesh. His flesh also erupted in an attempt to destroy the celestial body. The collision of the 2 forces caused a tearing sound to come from Wang Lin's body, making it seem as if his body was going to be split in half. As for the War Spirit Print, it landed on the mountain and river painting and unexpectedly tore off a corner. It went into the painting and crushed all the mountains and rivers inside. However, the mountain and river painting was extremely mysterious. The moment the mountains and rivers collapsed, they were quickly redrawn onto the painting. At the same time, a giant palm print appeared and seemed to start studying the War Spirit Print. A moment later, it took shape and collided with Wang Lin's War Spirit Print. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the world trembled. The aura from the old man inside the planet seemed to increase once more, revealing the terrifying power of a peak mid-stage spirit void cultivator. Anyone who attacks the Alliance will be destroyed. An ancient voice rang out, and then the torn-apart mountain and river painting quickly recovered. It spread out and descended toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin smiled angrily and stared at the old man inside the white light. He waved his right hand and a bow came out of his body. What's the use of your alliance? The outer realm has invaded and the inner realm has suffered heavily. The Cloud Sea was almost wiped out, the summoned river has fallen, all heaven is giving it their all, and the brilliant void is struggling. But your disciple became a lackey of the outer realm and your alliance has been occupied by the outer realm. There is also a seven-colored realm hiding here. I'm the current lord of the sealed realm. I came to destroy the seven-colored realm and save my senior brother Qing Shui and kill the outer realm cultivators. What right do you have to stop me? What did you say? The ancient voice paused for a moment. The expression of the old man inside the white light changed after hearing Wang Lin's roar. He raised his head and his ancient gaze looked at Wang Lin. You're the lord of the sealed realm? Wang Lin held the bow with his left hand. The bowstring was originally broken, but after fusing with Wang Lin, it was restored. However, pulling this bowstring was the same as pulling Wang Lin's tendon. However, Wang Lin didn't care about the consequences right now. Although he was as cunning as a devil, his personality hadn't changed. Once he decided on something, he wouldn't back down. He was going to save Qing Shui no matter what. Wang Lin's right hand grabbed the bowstring. This caused the veins on his face to swell. He let out a roar and pulled the bowstring back. After the bowstring was pulled, Wang Lin felt every tendon in his body being pulled. His face went pale, but his eyes were bloodshot. At this moment, he didn't care about the rejection force or his tendons being pulled. His only thought was how to kill anyone who blocked him from saving Qing Shui. You can ask your disciple if what I said is true or false. Wang Lin's words were cold, and he pulled the string a bit more. The force inside the bow could collapse the world. The old man inside the white light looked at the bow in Wang Lin's hand and confusion appeared in his eyes. This was the first time had awakened since he went to sleep, and he had been awakened by his disciple. He didn't know what had happened before and after, he only saw Wang Lin trying to destroy the planet. Wang Lin's words shook his mind. Although he had been asleep for a long time, he remembered that he was an inner realm cultivator and the help he had received from the Lord of the Sealed Realm. While pondering, the old man looked down at the giant planet below him and waved his right hand. 3 figures were surrounded by white light and pulled out of the planet by him. The 3 figures were 3 frightened old men. One of them was Master Zhongxian, but his appearance had changed from middle-age to that of an old man. The 2 people beside him were the 2 head elders of the Alliance. The senior elders trembled as they looked at the old man in white in awe. They knelt down and said, "Greetings, Grand Elder." "Greetings, teacher." Master Zhongxian was extremely nervous. He was terrified after hearing all of Wang Lin's words. He was quickly thinking about what to say. "Teacher, this matter is not as that Junior says, it's..." He raised his head while trembling and tried to explain. However, Master Longpan coldly looked at him. This caused Master Zhongxian to swallow his words. His body trembled and he didn't dare to speak. "You are Zhongxi. When you went to sleep, you were a child under me." Master Longpan's gaze fell on the old man to the left. "That's right, Junior is Zhongxi." The old man's eyes were filled with excitement. He didn't expect Master Longpan to remember him. "Tell me if what this person said is true or false." Master Longpan's voice was calm, but it was filled with a sense of majesty. Zhongxi's eyes were filled with hesitation and fear as he subconsciously looked at Master Zhongxian. "Useless trash." Master Longpan let out a cold snort and waved his right hand. A ray of white light shot out and landed on the old man. The old man screamed and his body exploded into flesh and blood that splattered Master Zhongxian and the other old man. Wang Lin coldly watched. His right hand pulled the bowstring back a bit more. After killing Zhong Shi, Master Longpan looked at Master Zhongxian, revealing a powerful sense of regret. He let out a sigh and grabbed the other elder. The other elder let out a fearful scream as Master Longpan placed his hand on the elder's head. His powerful divine sense swept the elder's mind. Master Longpan's expression became more and more ugly. Traitor! You've got guts! Master Longpan squeezed his right hand and the old man let out a scream before being crushed. Master Zhongxian's face turned pale and he subconsciously retreated a few steps. He knelt down on the ground in fear and his voice was distorted. Teacher, have mercy! Teacher, have mercy! There is a reason for this. The outer realm cultivators invaded and the inner realm was no match at all. Even if Disciple resisted, it would have been pointless. Disciple had to guard the alliance. In order for the alliance to continue, I had to resort to making an agreement with the outer realm. The outer realm's sovereign council has promised to protect the alliance. Teacher, you have been asleep, so you don't know that nearly 1,000 years ago, all heaven launched an attack on the alliance. The alliance was torn apart and only the alliance headquarters was preserved. Back then, Disciple tried to call Teacher, but Teacher didn't respond. Disciple doesn't have any feelings toward the inner realm. If they came and attacked my alliance, then why can't my alliance help the outer realm cultivators? Moreover, this seven-colored realm was found by you, Teacher. The outer realm cultivators that appeared were killed by you and you sealed the seven-colored realm. You even established the alliance headquarters here to guard this realm. You have been asleep for all these years, so you don't know the changes that took place over the years. What's the use of dying for the inner realm? The outer realm's sovereign is extremely powerful. I fear not even Teacher is his match. What can we resist with? The loss of the inner realm is already set and you can't change that, Teacher. With your power, we can defect to the outer realm and obtain great fortune there. Why toil for the inner realm? You? Master Longpan looked at Master Zhongxian, and the regret in his eyes became even stronger. He actually hadn't found much in the elder's memory. Everything he had done was to scare Master Zhongxian. Master Zhongxian didn't know about this and said everything out of fear. No matter how much the inner realm fights, it has nothing to do with the outer realm. As long as they don't enter, this old man won't awaken. The rise and fall of the alliance is up to fate. This old man let you set up the alliance not to control the brilliant void, but to allow our cultivators to grow stronger in this cruel environment. It was all for the war against the outer realm. Master Longpan let out a sigh. Cultivation Alliance, Cultivation Alliance. The reason the outer realm even made a deal with you is because they saw me inside the planet. You also told them of my existence in exchange for a great fortune. Master Longpan understood his disciple too well. He looked at the pale Master Zhongxian and faintly saw the past before there was a cultivation alliance. A beggar boy was climbing a mountain with determination. It took the boy 17 days to appear before him covered in blood. All of this was because the body wanted to cultivate. There was a rumor in his hometown that when one climbed up the mountain, if they were fated, they could see an immortal. Songa, you said in your earlier years that your greatest wish was to become rich and return home. Master Longpan began to recall the past, and his voice gradually became gentle. However, his expression made Master Zhongxian overflow with despair. His body trembled and he roared. Teacher, Disciple originally didn't intend to open the seal on the seven-colored realm. It was Celestial Lord Qing Shui who slaughtered his way here and forced Disciple to break the seal. It was he who opened the seven-colored realm. Disciple had nothing to do with it. He is the culprit. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed on Master Zhongxian. Master Flamespark was filled with monstrous hatred, and even his breathing became rough. Master Longpan seemed to not hear any of those words. His gaze toward Master Zhongxian became even more gentle. Back then, your body was not good and you couldn't cultivate. Teacher pitied your fortitude and helped nourish your body. I obtained the heavenly 5 veins for your body and gave you Dao bones. However, now, you no longer have a Dao heart. Master Longpan recalled the past and let out a sigh. He waved his right hand and a white storm appeared. Master Zhongxian's expression changed greatly and he retreated like crazy. He let out a mournful scream. "Teacher, have mercy. Teacher, don't kill me. Teacher." Disciple knows he was wrong. Disciple admits his mistake. "Teacher." He retreated with desperation. As the storm closed in, he let out a miserable smile and closed his eyes. The storm wrapped around him but didn't hurt him. Instead, it pulled him behind Master Longpan and outside of the range of Wang Lin's bow. "You have committed a monstrous sin and brought forth disaster. You also no longer have the heart of an inner realm cultivator. However, you are my disciple. I have a responsibility toward my disciple's sins. Teacher will take you to repay your sins." Master Longpan looked at the startled Master Zhongxian and then bowed toward Wang Lin. "Lord of the Sealed Realm, I will take responsibility for all the sins he has committed." He raised his right hand and hit his chest. Master Longpan coughed out a mouthful of essence origin energy and his expression became dim. The cultivation planet below him instantly turned grey. The vegetation withered, mountains collapsed, rivers evaporated, and the gullies widened. The entire planet was torn apart. As it collapsed, strands of white gas came out and entered Master Longpan's body. At the same time, an ethereal fire began burning inside his body. "I will cut off my vitality, and in exchange I will burn my origin soul to allow me to reach the strength of early-stage arcane void. I'm going to kill all the outer realm cultivators in the inner realm, destroy the remaining 7 colored realms, and take back the summoned river in exchange for Master Zhongxian's life." Master Longpan clasped his hands at Wang Lin before he looked at Master Zhongxian with a gentle gaze. "Teacher." Master Zhongxian became sober and kowtowed constantly on the ground. His eyes were filled with extreme sadness and a strong sense of remorse. "Let's go." Master Longpan let out a sigh. He took Master Zhongxian and walked into the distance. "I understand my disciple, he always prepares for both ends. The reason Celestial Lord Qing Shui is fine is because he did this for his own survival." As his voice echoed, a white storm and shot toward the bloody spatial rift. Cracking sounds echoed and the red light collapsed, revealing 7-colored light. Qing Shui was there. "Master Flame's Park, the matter of the past is not what you thought." Master Zhongxian was filled with remorse and sadness toward his teacher. As he left, he looked back at Master Flame's Park with a complicated expression. There was no wind among the stars, and even if there was, it would be created by a spell. The storm Master Longpan had created destroyed the red light and released all the seals, so the 7-colored realm appeared clearly before Wang Lin. As the 7-colored light shined from the rift, a roar of madness came out from within. It was a beast-like roar that was filled with bloodthirst and killing intent. Listening to this roar, Wang Lin calmed down. He silently looked at the 7-colored rift, and after a long time, he looked back at Master Flame's Park. Master Flame's Park's gaze was still locked onto where Master Zhongxian had gone. The hatred in his eyes was powerful. Wang Lin didn't know the vendetta between Master Flame's Park and Master Zhongxian. However, seeing how Master Flame's Park did everything he could to launch an attack on the Alliance after escaping to All Heaven, it was obvious this vendetta was as deep as the ocean. "I can't help you with this matter," Wang Lin let out a sigh. He knew the power of hatred, it was enough to make one crazy. Master Flame's Park silently pondered, and after a long time, he withdrew his gaze. He then clasped his hands and whispered, "The matter between Junior and Master Zhongxian is private, so the Lord of the Sealed Realm doesn't need to be concerned. The overall situation is more important. Junior understands this. If by the end of this war Junior dies, then this matter will be over, and it is the same if he dies. However, if in the end both of us are still alive, then it will be time for Junior to get revenge." Master Flame's Park hid the hatred in his eyes. He had endured for countless years and wouldn't mind waiting a bit more. He could never forget what happened back then. He was originally best friends with Master Zhongxian. It was also because of Master Zhongxian that he and his Dao partner had joined the alliance. The three of them would often debate Dao, and he was so enlightened by Master Zhongxian's insight that he was willing to obey him. Master Zhongxian was also extremely polite, and the two were good friends. At first their relationship was like water, but as time passed, it became like fine wine. However, all of this changed because of one matter. Master Flamespark would often awaken from his cultivation with the memory engraved in his mind replaying. Every time, he would clench his fist and let out a roar of anger and humiliation. He doesn't want to recall it, but the memory was deeply engraved in his mind, becoming a thorn in his heart. This thorn was buried deep inside him and had begun to rot. It had corroded his flesh and blood and become an eternal pain. Wang Lin let out a sigh and shook his head. If you can absorb the power of the Joss Flame Black Dragon, it will be a great fortune for you. Now I'm going to enter this seven-colored realm. It is filled with danger, so don't follow. Master Flamespark nodded and said his goodbyes to Wang Lin before leaving. He looked a bit crestfallen, old, and helpless. There was a hint of faint loneliness around him. It wasn't until Master Flamespark left that Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. The hatred between Master Flamespark and Master Zhongxian obviously involved their own private matters. Wang Lin didn't want to guess, and he wasn't going to try. Although that story was buried in time, it had to still hurt, just like water that had flowed out of your palm. Although it was gone, the coldness was still there, covering up the warmth and spreading across your body. While pondering, Wang Lin walked toward the seven-colored realm. His pace wasn't fast, but each step was filled with determination. He didn't turn back nor hesitate, and with 3 steps, he entered the second seven-colored realm in his life. Seven-colored light filled this world and reflected off the ground. At a glance, it was extremely gorgeous and easy to lose oneself inside. 7 colors, like the rainbow. Wang Lin floated in the sky of the seven-colored realm and observed. This was not quite the same as the seven-colored realm he had entered before. Although there were mountains everywhere, they seemed to form a large formation. This formation was made of nearly 100,000 mountains. It gave off a powerful aura. Every mountain was part of the formation. The deeper the mountain, the more majestic it was. The mountain in the deepest part pierced into the sky and was shrouded by 7-colored clouds. Only half of the mountain was revealed outside the 7-colored clouds. What was even more shocking was that there was a cultivator sitting on the peak of every single one of the 100,000 mountains. They weren't cultivating but howling in pain. The howling voices fused together to form a mournful cry that echoed throughout the heavens and earth. This howl couldn't be heard outside the seven-colored realm, but it would enter directly into your mind if you were inside. It was the struggling cries of 100,000 ghosts. It was so powerful, it could shake the world itself. Every cultivator had countless sharp thorns penetrating their body. They didn't look like they were cultivating at all, more like they had been forced into this position with the thorns imprisoning them. Every cultivator had their head raised and their hollow eyes looked at the sky as they let out unconscious cries. Fresh blood seemed to flow endlessly from the cultivators down the mountain as if it would never dry up. There wasn't much blood, however. There was only 1 person per mountain, and that amount of blood was insignificant to the large mountain. However, nothing could compare to the passage of time, through which blood had continuously flowed down over the years. It would go on for as long as the cultivators imprisoned there didn't die and their bodies continued to create more blood. Red smoke came from each mountain and shot toward the highest mountain within the 7-colored clouds. 100,000 mountains, 100,000 cultivators. Half of these 100,000 cultivators had marks between their eyebrows, they were clearly outer realm cultivators. The other half seemed to come from the Alliance. It was unknown how long they had struggled here. The smell of blood filled this 7-colored realm and seemed to fuse with the 7 colors. It caused the beautiful 7 colors to become demonic. Ghost-like shadows floated between the 100,000 mountains. They muttered Tao scriptures from their mouths. There were corpses walking within the 100,000 mountains in confusion, unable to ever get out. Their clothes were in tatters and their eyes were grey. Wang Lin silently looked at everything before him. After a long time, he slowly walked forward and entered the 100,000 mountains. As he closed in, a restriction inside the 100,000 mountains seemed to trigger, then the endless howling seemed to suddenly stop. The gaze of every cultivator on the mountains that were originally looking at the sky suddenly turned to Wang Lin. They no longer howled, and their confused gazes were now filled with resentment as they stared at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as the bizarre gazes of 100,000 cultivators locked onto him. His steps stopped for a moment. At the same time, the large amount of enlightened ones floating between the 100,000 mountains suddenly stopped murmuring. Their hollow eyes stared at Wang Lin. It was as if Wang Lin's appearance had broken the balance here, or a living person had suddenly appeared among the dead. His abrupt entrance was felt by all the dead cultivators here. Blood! Blood! In this extreme silence, a gasping sob slowly spread. It came from one of the closest mountains to Wang Lin and from the mouth of an outer realm cultivator. When this voice appeared, even more sobs appeared. All the cultivators said the same thing. Blood! Blood! The 100,000 cultivators' eyes were all bloodshot. They were no longer sane as they stared at Wang Lin and let out mournful screams. Just at this moment, one of the cultivators at a mountain peak coughed out a mouthful of blood. This blood mist spread out, and there seemed to be countless shadows inside his blood mist. Shortly after, even more cultivators coughed out blood. The blood mist quickly filled the sky above these 100,000 mountains and gathered. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. There was no longer any hesitation. He stepped forward and moved fast enough to break the void. Thunderous rumbles echoed as Wang Lin charged ahead. He was extremely fast. Before the blood mist had completely fused, he had already rushed out quite a distance. He charged toward the depths of the mountain range, toward the highest peak. In a flash, Wang Lin closed in on the highest mountain. When he closed in, he saw a scene that caused him to gasp. At this position, he could clearly see that the 100,000 mountains were not connected to the earth but were being held up by a petrified black tortoise. These 100,000 mountains were on the back of this black tortoise. It could be said that these 100,000 mountains weren't mountains at all but tawns of this incredibly large black tortoise. The black tortoise was large enough to fill the entire seven-colored realm. At the head of the black tortoise sat a middle-aged man, but his body gave off an ancient aura. As he sat there, he emitted no trace of life. His body seemed to be connected to the black tortoise, and there was a 3-inch thorn sticking out of his head. If you looked closely, you would see that the thorn penetrated through his whole body and only 3 inches of it was sticking. This video will end here.